previous part of this lecture, I ended here with the theory of repression by Sigmund Freud. But just to reprise a little on the lecture, I just want to go back and show you what repression actually means in design terms. All right? So I'm going to go back to here, where it says that modernism, by now, by the 70s, had become the dominant style, or at least of the Western world, and possibly Japan. All right? Now, a dominant style is like a dominant species in an ecosystem. Right? What it means is it marginalizes, it takes over, you know, the environment in one way or another, right? And therefore marginalizes other species out to the edges of that environment. Right? Now, let's get it right now. That means when I say a style is a dominant style, I mean that most buildings use the forms of that style. So by the 1970s, you know, most buildings, a lot of buildings, in fact, you know, were using modernist styling. Right? What's that mean? What it means is your glass box, your mass housing, the use of the grid, okay, all of that kind of sleek, mechanized kinds of forms, right? That's what modernism looked like. But by the 1970s, modernism's hold had become a bit more tenuous. People were questioning its authenticity, its credibility, if you like to put it that way, right? So why? Well, they felt that modernism had wiped out certain, how can I put it, humane or interesting or more authentic ways of representing the environment. And this is where we got to at this point. For instance, in regionalism had been repressed in favour of modernism. Regionalism, the cultural identity of different, you know, peoples throughout the world. Similarly, historicism, memory of previous architectures that had been basically pushed aside. Okay? Another species that had been marginalised by the predominance of the modern in Western culture, and Japanese culture, of course. Right? Familiar elements, casual elements, spontaneous elements had all been washed aside, repressed again. So here we have these elements, including eclecticism, which I mentioned before. There were now serious criticisms of modern architecture. Serious criticism. Namely, that it did not represent human experience. It represented some abstract idea, abstract intellectual idea of, as you remember, science, statistics, logic, order, right? So something had gone. And what I'm suggesting here is the things that had been repressed by the modernist wave were these elements here. Deconstructivism comes in at that point as another kind of criticism of the modern dominance, if you want to put it that way. Also, in one other aspect, of course, there's something important here. All forms of repression always end up bubbling back up to the surface again at some critical point. That is worth remembering in psychological terms. Now I want to move back to where we were slightly before. Right? Deconstructivism tries to get back to the original authenticity or complexity of representing human experience. Okay? And when Walt Whitman, the American, says, "I am multitude," what he's saying is that the human individual is not a single character that's reflected in his public images, but, you know, a whole complex of ideas, beliefs, loves, hates, whatever you want to call it, right? Here we go. Okay, now we get to the idea of repression itself. Repression, in individual psychology terms, comes from this guy, Sigmund Freud, who made it a very important part of his analysis of individual psychology. Now, you don't have to believe in everything Freud says, but he has certain useful elements, right, in his theories, and this is one of them, okay, which applies to our thinking. By the way, this is all heading towards deconstructivism, so don't worry about it, all right? So, there we go. He has this theory of repression. Now, what did that mean? In its simplest possible terms, I have to say, it means this, that we have, of course, a conscious mind, right? Well, most of us have a conscious mind, right? But we have a conscious mind, but underlying that conscious mind, in parallel with that conscious mind, we have an unconscious or subconscious, right? All that we imagine is this. The subconscious receives, stacks, organizes our experiences, our memories, our feelings, our hates, whatever, our beliefs, right? And stacks them, right? The earlier ones are stacked at the bottom. And also, of course, the ones that are unacceptable to public view are stacked at the bottom. The conscious mind deals with everyday experience, supposedly rational thought, okay, and handles the world as it is. But there is a barrier between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, and that barrier is repression, right? In other words, this one, the unconscious, subconscious mind is repressed in the sense that, it is not given to view in public terms. Otherwise you'd be out. Okay? So repression excludes, in human individual psychology, excludes the unacceptable. Okay? Next. Now, the point is, and the reason for this is, as we said before, the reason is that we have to get along with other people. We live in a society, all the other people have their own particular loves and hates and dislikes and whatever. Society cannot function if everybody allows these, how can I put it, fundamental, limbic kinds of feelings to express themselves. Be mass murder, for God's sake, okay? Especially if you got guns. Right? So what it does, though, is this. Repression represses these unacceptable thoughts, but there's a problem. The problem is that if it's done in a very authoritarian and totalitarian manner to the individual, that is, by their families, by a society, whatever, you could end up with a kind of psychological sickness. You will be paralyzed, completely paralyzed, because you cannot behave authentically and naturally and spontaneously. So you end up with a kind of psychological sickness. And this, of course, is what Sigmund Freud dealt with in individual patients. So psychoanalysis, you're still wondering what this has got to do with deconstructivism, but it is coming up, okay? Psychoanalysis opens up through the talking cure, the psychologist or the psychoanalyst, and the patient, right? Opening up all their dreams, memories, and beliefs in the quiet of the psychiatrist's room, okay? And he finds the traumas, right? The hates, the beliefs, and the loves, the unacceptable things that the patient has been taught to repress. Now, where does he find them? Well, have a look at this. He finds them when the patient has slips of the tongue, says something they don't really mean, okay? Avoidance of some issues altogether, even when asked a direct question. Nervous gestures, the fingers twitching away, okay? Strange behavior generally, right? So the psychoanalyst is looking into these issues. So, psychoanalysis deconstructs that public persona of the patient, right? Deconstructs it, takes it to bits, looks at the elements that have been repressed, okay, in order to make up this pristine, clean, hygienic public image, right? So this is it. He attempts to find the repressed reality of the individual. But here we go. Here's where it becomes, well, Freud did it for individual psychologists. Derrida, the French philosopher, decided to apply the same deconstruction techniques to writing, to text, and to philosophy. Now, there's a simple thing I'm going to show you here. Watch this. Watch this. Here's a book, okay? Have a look at the book. Have a look at a page of the book, okay? Right? Page of the book. So clean, so neat, so perfect, okay? It all looks highly organized, right? As if it had always been like that. Derrida says that's impossible. This page is not a true reflection of the text as a whole. Okay? Why? Well, let's look back at what he thinks here. How can these texts be that perfect? Can anything be that perfect? Well, he says no. Right? What are they hiding? Well, here's an example. This is where deconstructivism begins to take on, because Derrida invents the term deconstructivist to do what he does, which is to take pieces of text and analyze them and break them up and see what they're actually hiding. What was it like before the perfect order, in other words? Can you associate this with what I'm talking about in terms of architecture? You get these pristine, clean-cut, modernist buildings, right, that somehow or other you just don't believe. Human experience and human life is not as perfect as that, right? Now, Derrida's doing the same thing. He's only doing it for philosophy and text, but you can see the association. I hope you can see the association that I'm getting at here. Okay? So, he's looking for the truth of the text, right? And he finds that the real truth of the text is made up of many ideas and associations, emphasis, mistakes, edits, the whole thing. I've given this little bit, the text, the one I've just shown, looks smoothly from present. Okay? This is its reality. I have given this text, this is a piece of my text, originally pure and whatever. And what I've done, of course, is to apply, editing to it, mistakes, pointing things out, underlining, and so on and so on and so on. This is the truth of the text, right? Now, let's move on to the next bit. So, deconstructivism, right, means opening up the form to reveal, identify, and magnify its fundamental elements, exclusions, mistakes. It's trying to tell the total truth about a text or an entity. Okay? The truth is many things. Right, now, deconstructivism was a reaction to modernism, in the sense that how do we tell the truth about human experience? We certainly don't tell it by giving you glass boxes and the big slab blocks and tower blocks of mass housing. No. Okay? So the question is this: how do you apply what I have just said about repression, Sigmund Freud, Derrida? How do you apply that to design?